Getting knocked out of the World Cup is always painful, but at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, some nations suffered consequences far worse than elimination itself. From being greeted with fierce backlash when they returned home, to coaches being forced to resign, players becoming targets of racist abuse, and dressing rooms torn apart by internal conflicts, the aftermath was nothing short of devastating. So, which country endured the most tragic fate? Believe me, their stories didn't end when the final whistle blew. In many cases, that's when the real drama began. I found several nations that became the center of global attention because of controversies, public outrage, and shocking decisions that unfolded after their 2026 FIFA World Cup campaigns were over. So, in today's video, we're going to look at the countries that suffered the most heartbreaking consequences after their 2026 FIFA World Cup campaigns were over. Let's get started. South Korea. No country faced a bigger public backlash after the 2026 FIFA World Cup than South Korea. The moment they were eliminated in the group stage, frustration across the country exploded. A petition demanding the dismissal of head coach Hong Myong-bo went viral before the team had even returned to Seoul. When the squad finally arrived home, they were met with heavy criticism. However, the main targets weren't the players. It was Hong Myong-bo and the Korea Football Association, or KFA. Many supporters believed the failure wasn't just about poor results on the pitch, but also the controversial coaching appointment process that had been questioned from the very beginning. The pressure only continued to grow. South Korean media even blurred Hong Myong-bo's face in some reports as a form of public criticism, while his trip to the United States sparked accusations that he was trying to avoid the spotlight. Not long afterward, Hong officially resigned, accepting full responsibility for the team's disappointing campaign. The crisis eventually reached the highest levels of government, with President Lee Jae-myung calling for an investigation into both the coaching appointment process and the overall governance of the Korea Football Association. In my opinion, South Korea's World Cup exit became much more than a football disappointment. It evolved into a full-blown national football crisis involving the fans, the federation, and even the government. Uruguay. If South Korea was torn apart by public outrage, Uruguay was falling apart from within. Long before their elimination, reports had already emerged that Marcelo Bielsa's relationship with several players had begun to deteriorate. His demanding coaching methods were said to have created growing tension inside the dressing room. The situation only got worse after Uruguay failed to advance from the group stage. Fernando Muslera's costly mistake in the decisive match dealt a crushing blow, while reports described a dressing room filled with devastated players, many of them in tears. Several Uruguayan media outlets even labeled the campaign as the collapse of Bielsa's project, a project that had been surrounded by turmoil from the very beginning. The controversy didn't end on the pitch. Uruguay's return home also became a major talking point after reports claimed that the players had to fly back to their respective clubs separately on commercial flights, creating the impression of a squad that had completely fallen apart. Although the federation denied that it was intended as any form of punishment, the story quickly fueled public debate. Shortly afterward, Marcelo Bielsa accepted full responsibility for Uruguay's disappointing campaign before officially stepping down as head coach. In my opinion, Uruguay didn't fail because of a lack of talent. They failed because internal conflicts slowly tore the team apart from the inside. Germany. Germany may have been eliminated by Paraguay in a penalty shootout, but what truly infuriated the fans was what happened afterward. German media revealed that, as the penalty shootout entered sudden death, several players who were still on the field were reportedly unwilling to take the sixth penalty. Jonathan Tah eventually stepped forward, despite never taking a penalty in professional football, but his effort was saved. The revelation immediately triggered widespread criticism. Many supporters believed the players had lost the winning mentality that had defined German football for generations. The criticism quickly spread throughout the entire team. Julian Nagelsmann came under fire for allegedly failing to prepare a proper penalty-taking order, while the senior players were heavily criticized for not stepping up when the pressure was at its highest. Joshua Kimmich even admitted that Germany deserved to be eliminated. In my opinion, the defeat itself wasn't what hurt German fans the most. It was the feeling that the team had lost the fearless character that had made German football so respected for decades, especially in the biggest moments. The Netherlands. If Germany was criticized for losing its winning mentality, the Netherlands faced something far more disturbing. After their penalty shootout defeat to Morocco, 3 black players who failed to convert their penalties, Justin Kluivert, Quinten Timber, and Crescencio Somerville, became the targets of thousands of racist comments on social media. Within hours, their accounts were flooded with abuse and hate speech, forcing some of them to restrict their comment sections in an attempt to stop the wave of online attacks. The incident immediately drew a strong response from the Royal Dutch Football Association. The federation condemned the abuse, began collecting evidence of the racist comments, and announced its willingness to pursue legal action against those responsible. Both FIFA and FIFPro also denounced the incident, describing it as part of a worrying rise in online abuse directed at players during the 2026 FIFA World Cup. In my opinion, the Netherlands may have lost on the pitch, but once the match was over, their players found themselves fighting an even uglier battle off it. Looking back at everything that happened, I believe the 2026 FIFA World Cup wasn't just about who lifted the trophy. It was also about how a single failure could completely change the fate of a team within a matter of days. South Korea returned home to fierce public backlash, with even the government stepping in. Uruguay was torn apart by internal conflict, ultimately leading to Marcelo Bielsa's departure. Germany was faced with heavy criticism for what many saw as the loss of its trademark winning mentality, while the Netherlands had to deal with a wave of racist abuse directed at its players after the penalty shootout. All of these stories prove that the greatest pressure at the World Cup doesn't always come on the pitch. Once a nation is eliminated, the criticism from fans, the media, and even its own football federation can become far harsher than any opponent faced during the tournament. And in my opinion, that's the cruelest side of modern football. 90 minutes may decide the outcome of a match, but the days that follow can determine the future of a coach, a player, or even an entire nation's footballing identity. The 2026 FIFA World Cup has shown that defeat doesn't always end with the final whistle. For some nations, that's exactly when the real nightmare begins. From public backlash and internal conflicts to racist abuse, these became the painful consequences of falling short on football's biggest stage. So, what do you think? Which country faced the harshest backlash after being eliminated from the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more compelling football stories and in-depth analysis.